We made a list of every president's favorite food from the founding fathers to the present day. You won't believe the bizarre, greasy, and sometimes surprisingly simple foods that fuel the most powerful leaders in American history. Let's start with George Washington. The first president loved simple mornings with hoe cakes, which are cornmeal pancakes topped with butter and a drizzle of honey. Because he had dentures, softer, easier to chew hoe cakes were just perfect for him. John Adams, his weapon of choice was New England boiled dinner, a traditional one-pot meal featuring corned beef or brisket and a bunch of vegetables. He also enjoyed hard cider, something he picked up back in his Harvard days. Thomas Jefferson, the foodie founding father, thanks to his time in Europe, he brought back a machine from Italy for making pasta, and his absolute favorite was mac and cheese. James Madison, was he a dessert fan? You bet. Madison had a soft spot for ice cream, especially thanks to First Lady Dolly Madison popularizing it in the White House. James Monroe, he kept it southern and homey with spoon bread, a kind of cornmeal pudding with a soft crust that resembles a light, fluffy souffle consumed as a side dish. John Quincy Adams, man of the orchard, Adams enjoyed fresh fruit like apples, peaches, and plums, possibly from his own garden, because he was known for being into gardening and being proud of his orchards he said he built for his descendants. Andrew Jackson, not just tough politically, Jackson's favorite was leather breeches, which despite the name are just green beans cooked with bacon. Martin Van Buren had a taste for something unusual, boar's head, which he was introduced to during a trip to England prior to his presidency. William Henry Harrison. Here's a wild one. Harrison liked squirrel stew. Back then, squirrel was a common protein. The president even gave away free squirrel stew at his rallies, which might actually have helped him get elected. John Tyler. The favorite dessert of Tyler, a father of 15, was chess pie, a southern sweet pudding with a custard-like filling baked in a pastry crust. James K. Polk. A classic southern staple, cornbread, often paired with ham, was something Polk greatly enjoyed. Zachary Taylor. Taylor's favorite treat was callis, which are sweet fried rice dumplings covered in powdered sugar, very similar to beignets. Ironically, Taylor has been recorded as the only U.S. president to have been killed by food. Millard Fillmore. Fillmore's favorite was mock turtle soup, although he was also fond of resurrection pie, made from leftover meat like steak and liver, as its name suggests. Franklin Pierce. He enjoyed fanny daddies, which sounds funny, but they're actually clam fritters, a New England-style treat. James Buchanan. The 15th president's favorite was something that is nowadays accepted as a superfood, which is sauerkraut, basically fermented cabbage. Abraham Lincoln. Honest Abe was a fan of hearty foods, and he loved corn cakes so much that he once claimed that he could eat them as fast as two women can make them. Andrew Johnson. A comfort food from the South was on the top of Johnson's list. Hoppin' John, an African-American dish made with rice, black-eyed peas, onions, and bacon, famously eaten on New Year's Day for good luck. Ulysses S. Grant. Grant liked something sweet and homey, rice pudding, a dessert that even made its way into state dinners thanks to the president's fondness. Rutherford B. Hayes. The 19th president's favorite was cornmeal pancakes. In fact, his diet was pretty corn-centric. He enjoyed corn in countless forms according to his diary: corn, cornbread, corn fritters, corn soup, and more. James Garfield. Another squirrel lover, Garfield's favorite was squirrel soup, a recipe he submitted to a White House cookbook. Chester A. Arthur. Arthur's go-to was turtle steak, an extravagant old-school delicacy which he would pair with macaroni. Grover Cleveland. He reportedly told a friend he wasn't very fond of the fancy meals featuring French cuisine, and he'd actually prefer a pickled herring, a Swiss cheese, and a chop instead. Benjamin Harrison. As the first president to set up a Christmas tree inside the White House, Harrison probably appreciated the carol "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" due to the line, "Oh, bring us some figgy pudding," because he was a big fig pudding fan. William McKinley. McKinley and his wife preferred plain but hearty dishes, and the president's absolute favorite was red flannel hash, which was made from potatoes and beets. Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt loved fried chicken with white gravy because that's how his mother used to make it. The 25th president would sometimes eat a whole chicken in one sitting. William Howard Taft. A big man with a big appetite, weighing 332 pounds, Taft is known as the heaviest U.S. president in history, and his number one dish was steak and potatoes. Woodrow Wilson. Wilson had a simpler palate. A former housekeeper remembered chicken salad as one of his favorites. He also liked Virginia country ham. Warren G. Harding. When Harding relaxed, he reached for a chicken pot pie, a cozy Midwest comfort food. Calvin Coolidge. Silent Cal wasn't shy about his sweet side. He loved a jelly roll filled with strawberry jam and covered in lemon icing. Herbert Hoover. His favorite was surprisingly sweet. Sweet potatoes topped with marshmallows, something you'd find at a cozy holiday table. Franklin D. Roosevelt. FDR's favorite was grilled cheese sandwiches, though he also enjoyed fish chowder, hot dogs, scrambled eggs, and fruitcake. Harry S. Truman. Truman loved a well-done steak. Dwight Eisenhower. Eisenhower found comfort in his wife's $1 million fudge made with chocolate, marshmallows, and nuts. John F. Kennedy. JFK was not known as a big eater, but as a true New Englander, his favorite was creamy clam chowder. He also enjoyed meat and potatoes. Lyndon B. Johnson. A picky eater, Lyndon B. Johnson loved barbecue as well as cornbread and grits. Richard Nixon. Possibly the most eyebrow-raising one. Nixon liked cottage cheese with ketchup. Gerald Ford. Ford went for pot roast and apparently topped off those dinners with butter pecan ice cream. Jimmy Carter. Growing up on a peanut farm didn't affect his choice. Carter's favorite was a southern breakfast staple, cheesy grits. Ronald Reagan. Reagan's snack game was legendary. He was obsessed with jelly beans, which were also a juicy substitute after he quit smoking. George H.W. Bush. He famously hated broccoli, but his go-to snack? Pork rinds, especially with Tabasco sauce. Bill Clinton. Clinton loved chicken enchiladas, but he's also into cheeseburgers, barbecue, cinnamon rolls, and pies. George W. Bush. His favorite was called a cheeseburger pizza. Basically a margarita pizza made with all the ingredients of a cheeseburger. Barack Obama. Obama told Jerry Seinfeld that nachos are one of his biggest vices, of course paired with massive amounts of guacamole. Donald Trump. Fast food all the way. He famously loves McDonald's and Burger King, his standard go-to. Filet-O-Fish being his absolute favorite. Joe Biden. Biden's sweet tooth is no secret, but he especially has a soft spot for ice cream. He's been spotted getting ice cream across the country many times. Subscribe to Food Clan for more!